understanding the numbers, it's like being able to catch a laser with all of this light code information. That's what the numbers are like. If you understand the numbers, you can look at the clock any time of the day and get power just from the clock, just from the physical digits on your watch, on your phone, on your microwave, on your stove, on a clock tower when you pass it, anywhere. Anywhere you see numbers, you can get instant power. All you have to do is tap into what the numbers represent and learn how to blend them and learn what numbers mean. There's a lot of schools of thought that talk about what numbers mean. And on a second by second frame, it actually does synchronize, and it can help you with the stream of thought that comes in 24/7 to each human unit. These numbers can either help counter or affirm the stream of information and the waves that come through. Everything is light. Everything is light. Even information, we're in a laser field. We actually are deep into outer space. Where do you think the earth is? Where do you think we are? We're amongst the stars. If there's stars above us, then aren't there also stars around us and stars under us? Either way you look at it, we are out there. Whether you go with the round world, round earth, flat earth, square earth, block earth, triangle earth, we are both out there and in here at the same time, no matter what school of thought, no matter what religion, what deity, no matter what science, what religion, no matter what it is, we are both out there and in here. So the best thing that you can do, just to be on the safe side, is accept your own spiritual sovereignty. Believe whatever you want to believe and go all the way with it. Because guess what? As it pertains to you, you're right. How long you can be right is what this physical time, space, and 3D will show up as in some form or another. Just keep believing. Here's what will keep us in limbo. When we miss the lasers, when we don't put our own imagination and our own belief above what's coming out there, because we are also a generator in this laser field. We can either counter or affirm the stream of consciousness that comes in. Numbers being a tool, words being a tool, colors being a tool, sound being a tool. Everything that you can use, everything that's visible and non-visible, everything that's visible and invisible, you can use those as tools to be able to guide yourself through this laser field. It's nothing but lasers. I'm a product of the Montauk Project. It happened upstate New York. Think about how much they logged between my birthday in 82 versus whatever month it was in 83. Mind control, lasers, installing codes. And I bet they probably pushed a switch to probably even weaponize me mentally, because some of us are like that too, based on our gifts. And I have these deep sensations that I was possibly remote viewed throughout my whole life. And a lot of my ideas and thoughts, they may have been looked at or taken, or who knows, but there's all these synchronicities to things that I always saw as a little kid, but just in flashes, just fleeting thoughts, maybe even just random daydreams. But a lot of that stuff is coming true in this deja effect and this almost retelling and recycling through life, almost like it's still that time, it's still that year, but we're just in a different framework. It's almost like there never was any time. Like there never was anything other than the first day. The sun never stopped shining. So how could it be more than day one? How could we be any further than day one when the sun never went out? The sun never stopped shining. It doesn't matter what side of the planet the sun is shining on. If the sun doesn't go out, if the sun doesn't stop shining, the day isn't over. If the sun doesn't stop shining, that means the day isn't over. It doesn't matter if it's cloudy. That particular star that we call our sun, it never went out or stopped burning. And even if people say there's different suns that come in and swap out this one, it still points to the same evidence that we're still on day one. We will always be on day one. Before there was a star ever, there was an existence. Even in what we would like to call nothingness, something had to come out of that. There will never be anything more than day one. This is the first and the last. This is the beginning and the end. It always was. This is the Alpha and Omega. It always was. Whether you're coming or going, whether you're born or died, whatever the case is, you will always be, because you will always be somewhere. How can you account for your dreams? You can't account for whether or not you're alive when you dream, when you sleep, but you're still somewhere. Nothing but laser fields. And there's a lot of interesting information out there in regards to rings and string theory, even down to the scientific approach to plain physical sensory phenomena and being able to reinterpret it in a way that will appear to be magical and spiritual and superhuman-like or supervillain-like, whichever way your life has polarized you. I know a lot of times I'm both, right in the same frame, superhero, supervillain. Gotta be a supervillain because I was hurt too much. I was wounded too much. I was trespassed against too much not to be a villain, because it's the villain that's going to protect the hero. The hero will save the day, but it takes the villain to save your skin. Nothing but laser fields. By the time I came on this plane in this cycle, the Philadelphia experiment was celebrating its 20th anniversary. About teleportation. And they documented this stuff. And you know it had to be true, because the first thing we do when something is true, pardon me, and we don't want a person to know it's true, we'll try to falsify it immediately. We do it as humans. We don't have to blame it on anybody. We all do it. It's like a game of hide and seek. And if the person is close, you're not going to tell them you're getting warmer. You're not going to tell them that. You're going to lead them off the trail. Use misdirection. But the interesting thing is, the truth actually cannot be hidden. There's no such thing as a hidden truth. It's, will we accept the lasers that illuminate our vision to seeing what that truth is that was always right in front of us and always will be right in front of us? But things are changing. Things are changing. What's that movie with Taye Diggs and Christian Bale? Equilibrium. Equilibrium. That's where we're headed. That's where we are. We're in equilibrium. Look, we're in equilibrium. Spoilers. Well, not really. The theme of that was there was actually crimes and a whole justice system built on emotionality. They were in a society where you weren't even allowed to feel. It was a crime to feel. We're not that far off from that now. If there's certain things that you can't say, words come from feelings, right? So aren't we in equilibrium right now? So balance your way through the lasers. Cross the prison bridge, as they say. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the occultist told you it first. Synthesize that information. You can either counter it or affirm it. But please row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily. You won't always be happy. Sometimes you have to fake it, but just be merrily. Get merry anyway. Merrily. You know what life is. It's just a dream. Proof that life is a dream is you can't even recall or account for all of your life. None of us can. You can't remember every single day of your life. You just can't. And that's the same way dreams work too. You can only remember highlights, snapshots, details. You don't remember how that exact day went. You'll create a false memory. And that will be true because you will re-experience something in a different way. You can retell your story if you want to, but be careful with that because there's certain parts of your story in your past that need to remain unchanged because that's part of what has built certain equipment to help you deal with the present and will propel you into the future. So if you want to remix anything, remix the present moment because the present moment is the future too. None of it really matters. Yesterday is today and today is tomorrow. It's all the same. There only is really one time. Now. The highest number is not 9. It's 0. Every number has to pass through 0. 0 is the gate. And for the sake of a throne, in terms of rulership, the highest number is not 12. It's 13. 13 becomes 4. 1 and 3 becomes 4. 4 is a chair. Turn it upside down is an H. Is an H in a chair. And it's also a Y. Right before the Z, the Y. The Y is what's going to keep you going. Have the reason for what you do. Homonyms will help you guide through these laser fields too of light-coded information. Homonyms, because in the language of mystics and all of those kind of things, words that sound the same are the same too. Even logically, in your average dictionary, or at least the ones we read back in the day, there was more than one definition for a word. There were like 3 or 4 definitions attached. When you're dealing in what we call reality now, because we're actually in the occult version of this, I guess, universe or reality or whatever you want to call it, it's all occult now. It used to be white magic. Now it's black magic. White magic was the religion, that kind of feeling, the ascendant feeling, the light feeling, the air feeling, the smoke-filled temple feeling, the high praise feeling. That was white witchcraft. And the world was under that. Prayers and national anthems and all kinds of songs would be sung on school property of all ages. There were flagpoles that people would meet in front of first, and all kinds of things that did go on in society first. It was much more family oriented, more community like, but this was white magic. It was the manipulation of what the flower power kids were. And then as time went on and the indigo children were collected and marked and or sealed, all those babies from like the early 80s to early 90s, all of those who were deemed warlords and spiritual assassins against our will, against our wheelhouse, and against our will. Because those of us who have the strongest fight gene, survival gene, are the ones who want the peace the most in a lot of instances. Always want to seek the peace, always want to seek the balance and the harmony. But consequently, those are also the type who are attacked a lot of times because of that trait being there. I never was able to understand it. I thought I was in hell up until like age 37. And I'm like, I'll be 40 in a couple of months. So I've been convinced my whole life that I was in hell. It was just that in hell, every now and then, you have a good time. But the fire's still burning. Your people's resources and status is still being burnt to a crisp because there's parts of the laser fields that we were not privy to. And now with information, that's like cracking open a sun and spilling all of the star juice onto the planet. All of the star seeds, all of the starlight, information, the database has been cracked open. It doesn't even matter if the information is true or false anymore. Can you synthesize and synchronize with it enough to make your life mean something that you need it to mean? That's all it's about. You could call on anybody. Call on yourself. I do. The white witches would say, blasphemy. How dare you betray our Yahweh? Look, I was one of the highest of the white witches you could ever imagine. You hear it in the work. You hear it in everything that's on the page. That says enough right there. I used to be that at the highest level. And I didn't find necessarily any demons or entities or spirits, but what I found was control, coldness, and this separatist energy that, sure, you would want to ascribe it to any kind of demon you could think of. And that's okay if you want to believe that. But I'd rather believe in an enemy that I could see rather than ignore an enemy that I can't see. The enemies that we can't see are hiding in the enemies that we can see. If they're not, then it's existing in your own head and you just have to do a repurging and get the counterbalance out of your thought world and out of your thought realm. But most times you'll see the enemy on the outside, through the outside, manifesting itself through people. You'll see different aspects of it. How are you going to navigate yourself through the laser field? That becomes the question. It also becomes the answer.